All right, what up, y'all? Thank y'all so much for dropping by. Man, first of all, we're just gonna dive right into it. You know what I'm talking about, because I know a lot of you guys are seeing these videos, you know what I'm saying, on God of War Ragnarok, and then everybody's still wondering, okay, clearly we're not gonna get no showcase, no E3, no state of play, no nothing from Sony. Clearly it's just gonna be journalists and game developers are just going to be talking about God of War. So that's what we're gonna jump into that video about them basically telling us about it, but you know, it still doesn't compare to actual gameplay. Like we have so many Sony PlayStation fans, diehard fans, that are paying top dollar for these games. $70 price tag, overpriced PS5s, games that still coming, they're still doing cross-gen. So you're gonna have the best of both worlds still. We're having people, we even have some people coming out complaining and kind of comparing the two. They're like, yeah, we can kind of see that this is just a pretty much upscaled PS4 game, so it's not true next gen, but the quality and the upscale is gonna make it feel like it, because it's gonna be, the graphics is gonna be so nice on PS5, and pretty much the resolution and frame rate is gonna be so much higher, so it's gonna feel like a next gen game. But I don't think they're saying that it's gonna be a true next gen game. You know what I'm saying? And this is something else I had touched on before. I felt like PlayStation should have took something like this and kind of like went in a new direction with this God of War. Pretty much, if they would even had to take a L and pretty much drop it on that PlayStation Plus premium cloud gaming that's on PC, and have the mobile app as well with God of War, that right there alone would have opened the door for a new direction for Sony. But since Sony is so greedy, grimy, shady, low down, love doing these little exclusive backdoor deals, they want to gatekeep everybody and lock them down to one plastic box. Now they're gonna lock you down to that one plastic box. They don't want you to be able to play this game anywhere else except on a PlayStation platform, and that's the console. They don't really want it on, they want to double dip later on when the hype has kind of died down. Now we don't know if they're gonna do day one, but the dude, one of the I don't know if it's the CEOs or whatever over there at Sony, they have kind of mentioned it. They were like, well, we are kind of wanting to jump into the day ones, especially on the live subscription service games that they're coming out with. Well, it's gonna be like 10 of them that's coming down the pipeline that's supposed to drop day one on PlayStation Plus. But this right here would have definitely hit the mark, like bullseye, if they would have dropped this on PlayStation Plus Premium day one, and it came to something like Steam and Epic and PlayStation Plus Premium on PC and mobile. Do you know how huge this would have been? But this would, yeah, they probably felt like they would take a L for that, somewhat. But not, I don't think it would take much, because this game is already so popular. It's already so big. Everybody still is going to want to buy it and play it. They already bought up all the collection editions already. So I don't see why they wouldn't do a day one on God of War on PlayStation Plus Premium, because you know how much revenue that would have brought to that platform, to that studio, to those game developers, and the whole we believe in generations. You know what I'm saying? Well, if you believe in generations, believe in your fan base. Aren't you the market leaders? I'm pretty sure if you're the market leader, you can afford to take one L on the game. One per year on a AAA banger. I'm pretty sure Sony will be okay if this game would have been on a live subscription service like PlayStation Plus Premium, cloud gaming for PC and mobile, if they would have had everything in order already. But this whole, we're not giving you no showcases, no gameplay, but we're pretty much gonna bring our developers in and pretty much, you know, explain to you how cool the game is, how beautiful the game looks, all of the features, all of the combat and everything that they've added into the game, all of the mechanics, the resolution, the frame rate, how it looks, all of the great details. They have all these storytellers, all these journalists all these developers and content creators out here, they're all telling you how beautiful the game is, but nobody is having that gameplay. The number one thing that we are asking for, we can't get it. We can't even get it. Now, the game's supposed to drop on the 8th. On the 9th of next month. You know, and it's going to be on PS4, PS5, and it's supposed to come to PC. We already kind of know that's coming. So that ain't like no surprise, because you already know what's going down in these gaming streets. We already know PC is the new PS5. You know, and we know those fanboys and ponies don't like it, but hey, this is the new wave. This is the new movement. So you're going to have to either jump on this train or get off. And I'm sorry, that's just the way the gaming industry is moving due to the way Game Pass is moving and how that's a juggernaut over there on Xbox. You know what I'm saying? That's just their gold mine. That's something that nobody really can duplicate right now because it's moving at such a fast rate. You know, Game Pass is growing by the day, by the week, by the month. These are thousands and thousands of subscribers that come, especially since Persona, they even breaking into the Japanese market. So you already know it's huge. And that's what I was trying to say, man. I don't get why we're not getting what the fans are paying for from Sony. Like, it's like, oh yeah, you know, we got this quality premium experience over here that you have to pay top dollar now. You gotta pay like $650 to $700, $800, however much for the console, however much for the bundles. I'm pretty sure they're gonna bundle God of War as well. So you gotta pay all this extra, just boatload of money. But yet it's still, I'm having all these interruptions. I know y'all hearing all this stuff in the background. What's going on over there? Are those Decepticons trying to interrupt the video? But yeah, man, it's crazy that you're paying top dollar, you know what I'm saying, for what we've been asking for years for Sony to do. And stop being so anti-consumer. Stop being so consumer. They're saying that, oh man, you know, anti-competitive. Like, what are you talking about, man? They're doing all these blocking rights and blocking deals. They're so focused on trying to stop the whole Call of Duty Activision Blizzard deal, and two, they're not even giving us what we're asking for. This game is only a few weeks away. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what is going on with the gameplay, bro? We are really about to be going into the next month, and we ain't seen no showcase, no E3, no live, not even live gameplay from PlayStation on their channel, on their YouTube channel. Not even live, not even 10 minutes of live gameplay, just 10 minutes. They can give that to the fan base. They won't even do it because it's like, oh, it can hurt the case. It can hurt our case because they will see that we have AAA bangers on the way, but they will see that we're hypocrites and we're crying. We're saying that, oh, you know, well, Xbox is so anti-competitive because they're going to get Call of Duty and Activision Blizzard, and nobody's going to be able to compete with Call of Duty because we don't want to make another first-person shooter AAA banger game. Like, we already know the story. We done been over it how many times already? So, and you done seen it all over Twitter, all over YouTube, all over the blogs, the vlogs, the news, the media. We done seen it already. Everybody already knows Jim Ryan is still crying. He's getting flued out to UK and Brazil complaining. He's still trying to figure out why did they send it through in Brazil. He's trying to go back. He's trying to backtrack and say, okay, why was it improved? He's trying to call everybody corrupted. They're trying to say everybody was corrupted over there in Brazil. And I'm thinking to myself, like, corrupted? I say, ain't Sony the biggest, greediest, grimiest company in gaming? And you got some nerve, Jim Ryan. This idiot. This donkey, that is the donkey of the rest of the year. That is the donkey of the year. It usually be the donkey of the day, but he's the donkey of the year. This man had some nerve to say Brazil was corrupted due to the fact that this was an inadequate deal. It's inadequate. You know what I'm saying? It's anti-competitive. We don't want this. We don't want Game Pass being a juggernaut like that. They will be unstoppable with Call of Duty. We can't compete. It's either you can't compete or you don't want to compete. We're gonna say it again for the ponies and the fanboys, since some of them be acting deaf. You either can't compete or you don't want to compete. Which one is it? But man, we're just gonna dive into pretty much they're gonna tell us about, you know, God of War and what we can expect with the game, because I know a lot of you guys have been just patiently waiting on a showcase or gameplay from this game, and it's starting to get really annoying. And I'm trying to say it the most respectful way I can, that we really need somebody to do something about the gameplay, at least even if they did live gameplay footage on the PlayStation channel. So we're just gonna jump right in. Let's go.
From a combat perspective, I always, and I still feel like the meat and potatoes of any God of War game is combat. My name is Roberto Clemente. All my friends call me Bert. I'm a senior combat animator here at Sony Santa Monica.
My name is Kim Nguyen, and I'm a gameplay animator.
Hi, I'm Sabra, and I'm a senior VFX artist on God of War Ragnarok.
My name is Grace Pan, and I'm a gameplay animator in God of War Ragnarok.
Hi, I'm Stephen O'Hara, GBA, combat designer on God of War. And I create interesting and memorable creatures that players like to attack and defend against.
As an animator, you gave life to characters. You make them move, you gave them personalities, you gave them weight.
My role as a VFX artist is to put the power behind a move. You are in control of fire and earth and water and wind. Whether you are throwing your axe or on the receiving end of an enemy spell, VFX is what really gives the movement and the danger to every move that a character or enemy makes.
I work really closely with the design team and the tech art team on this project specifically. We actually work a lot with camera, along with the guidance of our great camera team, so I find myself doing fight choreography sometimes.
One of the most challenging parts about being a combat designer isn't the technical implementation of creating a creature, but it's really navigating that line between frustrating and engaging. We want to make something that makes players lean forward and focus and really try hard against that enemy and feel good about overcoming that, but we don't want to make them feel defeated if they can't figure something out.
And then it feels rewarding when you win, not because it was impossible, but because it was fun and engaging.
After the last game, we've heard the community cry out for more mini-bosses, bigger creatures, and enemy variety, and this time we really leaned into that. So in God of War Ragnarok, you're going to be traveling to all 9 realms, and each realm is going to have like its own theme of enemies that are very unique to that space. For example, in Alfheim, we're familiar with the Dark Elves, but this time around we're going to be fighting Light Elves, such as the Light Elf Warrior. One of the key learnings from the last God of War game is we don't have to think about the camera and how close combat is going to feel. We already have that knowledge, so we can build upon the close camera that we have, and we can iterate on enemies, creating more interesting scenarios. In the last game, Atreus was just starting to fight alongside Kratos, and he was learning from the master tactician. So in this game, he's trying to prove himself a little bit more, and we built upon those mechanics with him.
The previous God of War, Atreus was still a kid, right? So he has a lot of dependency on his father. And for this game, you will see Atreus moving more independently on his own as a companion.
In regards to VFX for Kratos, I think what the players really love is the powerfulness of it. When you are playing as Kratos, you really do feel like the God of War. And moving into Ragnarok, we want to really make something bigger, make it stronger, make it more of a spectacle. You want them to be like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that the Blades of Chaos could get even better, but look at that.
So as Kratos gets more powerful, he's going to have access to newer combos and newer abilities that will increase the combat depth of each weapon. For the Blades, one of the moves that I've really enjoyed from previous God of Wars is the combat grapple, and we're going to be bringing that with a new twist.
I'm very excited for players to try the blade grapple traversal moves. That brings so much more speed into the movement and the dynamic feel to it.
One of the ways we've expanded Kratos combat this time around is we've given more utility and choice to the shield loadout.
If you are a parry person, you could really go for a shield that gears towards parrying. If you're a big blocker, then you could choose a shield that will really match your playstyle.
One new mechanic or element that I'm really excited about is these combo finishers. Building up the stun meter this time around is going to lead to different ways to basically decapitate the enemy.
You're going to be able to choose, which weapon you want to have when you kill a guy. Another feature that we've added for Kratos is his new pre-fall attacks. You could jump off a ledge, and if there's an enemy below you, you could slam down on him.
There's such an emphasis on verticality in some of these fights that it's super engaging. And as Kratos, now that you have so much mobility and that you can also take advantage of that verticality, I think it just adds such another interesting layer to a fight.
In God of War Ragnarok, we've enhanced the Kratos and Atreus duo. He's going to initiate a little bit more and be aggressive. He's going to fight alongside you and sometimes even surprise you with his combo abilities too.
Some of the new expanded companion actions that you'll see Atreus do leverage the fact that he's older now, he's bigger now. And he's different from Kratos, so his magic has a different flavor.
Not only that they fight side by side together, there are also a lot of mini games and player interaction moments. For example, like the puzzle systems and the set pieces. You definitely will see a lot more collaborations between father and son.
Odin must have sent them!
There's so much that goes into building a big set piece. You basically iterate and iterate and iterate, and it takes testing and just seeing what works to really figure out the personality of something. Basically, every department gives it their all to make things really spectacular. There were a lot of different times that I would look back at God of War games just through the ages before 2018. There were so many amazing, huge boss fights and set pieces that it was a huge inspiration for me on my time on this project.
For the Old Father!
Our design philosophy for creating new and memorable enemies is basically making them a combat puzzle, similar to like chess, and focusing on the chess pieces. Each piece has its own theme and its own use.
You need to be able to see what's happening in an instant and be able to react as the player.
There's a couple of different ways that we go into making an attack very readable for the player. Sometimes we add a signature audio cue, or we'll add the different rings, such as what we did in the last game, that let you know that this attack is unblockable, you need to dodge it.
There's so many different ways that VFX really helps not just show what an enemy is about to do, but show who the enemy really is.
Everything you design has to be surrounding the essence of the character and a story. It's what makes it believable and memorable in the first place.
I think what I'm most excited about is for players to experience the diversity of enemies that this game has to offer. You will be fighting everything from small little creatures to things that will take up the entire screen.
All of their designs run the gamut. I think each one looks so much different from the next one, and each of them have their own play styles and their own little fantasies that go into it. And so I think if you are really into Norse mythology, you'll be very interested to see how Sony Santa Monica has taken some of these creatures and interpreted them for God of War.
Everything that goes into the game, there's emotion behind it and intent behind it, and by the time it gets to you, everything that you've seen that you're going to play and experience has been sweated over, bled over, tested, and is fun to play.
All right, so there you have it. That right there was the gaming creators, pretty much from I think Santa Monica Studios, and they pretty much went over God of War gameplay, the mechanics, and how the fun factor is, and how good the game is going to be, and what we can expect from it. So you guys already know what to do, man. Make sure you smash that like, that subscribe button, click that notification bell so you guys can be notified on all of the new latest and greatest news in these gaming streets. And if you would like to jump into the PlayStation ecosystem or the Xbox ecosystem, just click the link down below in the description. Thank you and peace.